What's up, everybody? Today's guest on the Roost is one of the go-to guys for bass at downtown Nashville. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps, is now a full-time musician, and had a bunch of great stories to tell. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Logan Hatcher.
I sub my tonight shift out 10 to close because I play in Midtown right now, 7 to 10 on Thursdays. And I'm like, Morgan Wallen's playing downtown. I'm not going to make it in time.
Yeah. Dang.
There's no way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
3 nights is it at Bridgestone or Nissan?
I think it's at Nissan.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
I'll spend an hour just trying to get downtown.
Yeah, I'll probably need to leave way early. Dang. And I don't know if it's supposed to rain. I don't know if that means people are going to be like not in the stadium or.
Well, let's see. Is it supposed to rain?
Because if it does, then it might be chaos.
Well, if he's got Taylor Swift money, he might just start late. And no, it's not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
Tomorrow it's supposed to.
Oh.
Thunderstorms too.
Oof. Yeah. Oh well though. So how'd you kind of get that Kid Rock gig? Like, is it you knew the band leader?
Oh yeah, I've been playing with Eric for like 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
Normally play like Tootsie's Roof or HTC with him, but yesterday he was like, "Oh yeah, they swapped us over to Kid Rock's main, just trying some new things out." So I'm like, "Yeah,
Nice.
already committed to the gig. It was just a different,
Oh, word. Yeah.
different stage."
Yeah. What's it like playing on that stage?
I mean it's
Like good. I mean, I guess it's like any other stage, but I guess kind of get more at like what are some of your favorite stages to play at, other than aside from money, just like sound vibe. Like,
I mean sound wise, I love Whiskey Row just because Cody is the best sound guy in Nashville, hands down.
oh wow.
The dude has his ears on the entire gig, has a mobile talkback mic.
Oh wow.
Anything that happens, he hears it. We'll fix it immediately. Has us dialed in. Love Johnny Cash's. Love Nudies.
Yeah.
Those are probably my favorites.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. A mobile talkback mic is pretty nice. That's like yeah, I guess there's a different kind of dedication to the sound than just like playing on your phone or whatever.
Well, and that's the thing is like Cody is one of the guys who he gives a shit.
Yeah.
Some sound guys are like, "Hey, you guys good? Cool.
Yeah.
Bye." And then they disappear and
Yeah.
they're gone for the night.
Well, I don't know. Is there like a short staffing on sound guys or something? I see like I've heard horror stories of sound guys having to run to different venues and like.
I don't think it's a short staffing thing. So like some of them, so like for Sanderson,
Yeah.
that's like the stage and second fiddle and what used to be Crossroads. A lot of those guys will run all 3 bars at the same time and kind of bounce between.
Dang.
Some of the other clubs like Lucky Bastards and Whiskey Row, it's actually a third-party sound company.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you don't know who you're going to get.
Oh, okay.
They just work for that company. And
Yeah.
there's exceptions. Like James at Lucky Bastard, he is pretty consistently there. But to be honest with you, I don't have that much insight on what the sound guy situation is.
Yeah. Well, that's sick. You said you've been in town for like 4 or 5 years?
6.
6 years?
Yeah.
Dang. What? Where were you from before that?
Washington State.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the music scene like out there?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh, yeah.
No, I grew up in Washington. So dad's from Clarksville, like 45 minutes north.
Wow.
Just a little background. So my granddad was career Army up in Clarksville. Dad enlisted in the Air Force, got stationed in Washington, met my mom, settled down. I ended up joining the Marine Corps, moved down to San Diego for the majority of my enlistment. And then on the way out, I was like, well, San Diego's too expensive. I've got family in Nashville. Maybe I can play a little bit if I want to.
Yeah.
And it was the best job offer I got at the time.
Oh, wow.
And so like I didn't know what the music scene was like in Nashville. I had no idea.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, well, this is like the best choice that seems to make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was not one of those guys who moved here thinking, oh, I'm going to go play music for a living. It just kind of was like, oh, well, this makes sense.
Yeah. So what was the offer? Or like what was kind of the lead that got you out here?
It was a job as a distribution manager for a paint company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I did that for a little while, and then 2020 happened.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And within the span of 5 weeks, it was like lost my job due to COVID.
Mm.
I got divorced,
Oh my gosh.
and a tornado came through and took out my place.
Holy crap.
And so I was like, well, you know what? I can't get more broke, homeless, or divorced, so I might as well just try and play music for a living.
Holy crap.
And it worked out.
Damn. Man, that's insane. So you'd kind of been playing your whole life just recreationally and
Yeah, I've been playing for 20 years.
Yeah.
My dad got me started real young. But even when I was enlisted, like I had basses in my barracks room and whatnot, and I played in high school bands. I was like a big jazz head,
yeah.
but never really had any aspirations to
Yeah,
make a living doing it.
for sure. Yeah. What was that process like getting into the Marines? That's kind of crazy.
I mean, there's a lot to it. It was, I mean, like I said, dad and grandpa both being military, I kind of felt like it was, I guess, kind of following in their footsteps,
Yeah, like
doing what
birthright.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Best, worst time of my life.
Yeah. Right.
Had a great time, miserable time.
Yeah.
But loved it. Wouldn't change it for a thing. Matter of fact, one of my old captains was just out 2 weeks ago, and now that we're both out, we can hang out together.
Oh, that's crazy.
Because I was a corporal and he was a captain.
Yeah.
We always got along, but I mean, we ended up going out. He came to one of my shows, and then we went out to Broadway and had a few drinks, and it was just
fun.
like kicking it. It was a good time.
That sounds so fun. Yeah, it's like whenever you graduate high school and you get to finally hang out with your teachers a little bit.
Exactly.
It's like
Same thing.
Yeah, that's strange, but it's cool. Yeah, what was how do you think like Marine Corps, like any of the perspectives you learn in there kind of translate to being a hired gun musician?
There's a lot, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Work ethic is a big thing.
Yeah.
For sure. Because when you're a hired gun, no one's over your shoulder saying, hey, you need to get up and practice this morning.
Yeah.
You got songs to learn.
Yeah.
I've got a whiteboard that sits outside my bedroom door with all my upcoming gigs, the songs I have to learn in order, and like it's all prioritized. And I think the biggest thing is that there's no HR.
Yeah.
So
Right.
in the Marine Corps, like if you're doing something stupid, you're going to get screamed at,
Oh yeah.
and no one's going to save you.
Yeah.
They don't have to be nice about it.
Yeah.
If you're on stage and you have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, you can let them have it. And management isn't going to come out and say, oh, well, that's not how you talk to people.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not that I'm about to like really drill into
right.
somebody,
Yeah.
but there's no rules.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very big similarity between military life and being a hired gun.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can definitely see the work ethic. And man, I saw one of your posts saying you had like 62 gigs in a month.
62 in the month of March.
Dude, that's nuts. Is that like, you got to be 0 days off.
Yeah, no days off.
No days off. That's like minimum 2 gigs a day.
Last Wednesday was my first day off since February 4th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Dude, how do you keep your body in health to maintain that kind of workload?
You don't.
Yeah.
I am not a good example. Do not do what I do.
Oh my God.
My thing is like, it's this inertia sort of thing that so long as I keep on going, I'm good.
Yeah.
The moment I take a day off, I crash.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah. I that kind of seems like if you're on the road a bunch and then you get like 1 day home, like you're just gonna miss home even more when you have to leave again, and just like that feeling of like, oh, like I was better just like
just keep it moving.
Yeah. Dang. That's insane. I mean, definitely a high bar to try and like reach or something like that, but I mean, you still have to, think about like taking care of your nerves and your hands. So is there anything you do? You still work out? You still
exercise, chiropractic, massage, drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
Chiropractic is a big one. Like I'll go see my chiropractor and she'll adjust my legs and be like, oh yeah, one leg has been like 3/4 of an inch, an inch shorter than the other one. Cause like you tend to balance your weight on one side.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stuff like that. getting a decent night's sleep, which is also really hard because I mean, I go to bed at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, right when the birds are waking up outside my window and decide they want to keep me up for the whole morning.
Dang.
And then I try not to do morning gigs too often. But yeah, like trying to get a consistent sleep schedule is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And just going through your calendar, be like, oh, well, I'm playing till 2:30 tonight and I have to play at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
It's
burning the wick at both ends.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, so I almost want to ask, like, what's a day in the life like? But honestly, I guess you're kind of almost a nocturnal animal. It's like, what's a 24 hours in the life of a Logan Hatcher like?
First thing I do every morning, wake up, I go through text, emails, and my calendar.
Yeah.
And just like make sure I've got everything in line, which I'm pretty good at, but every now and then things do slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, well, I'm coming back this day and maybe I've got an overlapping time slot, and I just try really, really hard to make sure that things don't overlap. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
And then usually after that, it's like coffee, try and like collect myself for about an hour.
Yeah.
Head downtown or whatever road gig I'm on. I always keep a Roland, what's it called? It's like the Mix Pro or something like that, but just I can plug my bass in with that and a MIDI cable for my phone and headphones. It's a mobile practice rig.
Yeah.
I live in an apartment, so I don't want to turn my amp on and have speakers blaring through, isolated tracks and whatnot. So I just headphones, bass, play along the tracks. And yeah, that's about it.
Dang. So you're checking texts in the morning. Like, obviously to play that many gigs, you have to play with multiple groups and all that. But what are kind of like your regular, you can expect kind of gigs, and then what are some of the like, on a whim pickup kind of gigs?
So I play with, let's see, if we start on Sundays. Sunday, I usually do 1 to 4 at Valentine with Josh Hewitt. It's a trio gig with Julie DeGrazia.
Yeah.
I just played on her last release too, which was so much fun. Then I do 11 to close Whiskey Row with Monty Mater. I play with her Saturdays and Sundays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is at Second Fiddle with Jake Holder, Clay Shelburne, Nick Ryan, Adam Hoffman. Thursdays tonight I've got Annie Gavin at the Distillery in Midtown. Normally do Snitch after that, but like I said, the Wallen concert, I'm not going to try and make it downtown after that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Friday, tomorrow, I think I've got Bootleggers. No, Whiskey Bent with Jake again. And then Whiskey Row with Hype Creek.
Yeah.
Saturday, I've got Darian Lee at FGL 6 to 10. Johnny Cash is with Monty 10 to close. And those are like
those are all regular gigs.
Those are my regular ones.
Oh my God.
And then whoever else decides they want to call
Holy
me.
crap. Holy crap. I mean, just for perspective for listeners at home, like 62 gigs in a month, like, on a pretty slow year, I've done that in a whole year. And like to do it in a whole month is like, that's an insane amount.
It's too much. I really don't recommend it.
No, it's definitely not sustainable, but it's like, it's a crazy, you can't achieve that just like if you tried to. Like, you have to achieve that only through like, circumstance. You're already having like a baseline amount of gigs that are, so high.
And like, I tell people that, like, I never want to like advertise how much I play in a month or how much money I've made to like brag. It's like, I'm doing this much. But like, I've found so many people who are like, I don't know if I can, like, if I move to Nashville, can I really make a living doing it? I say, dude, like, no, you like, this is what my month looks like.
Yeah.
You can make a living doing it.
Yeah.
Stop doubting yourself.
Yeah.
You can do it. Like,
Absolutely.
the work is available. So long as you put in the homework and like the diligence, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think it does come across inspiring and really not braggadocious, because it's like, there's so many people back home in Louisiana who are incredible musicians, and I'd love to see them kind of flourish in a more, you know, in a city with more infrastructure for that kind of thing. And Louisiana just doesn't have that. I mean,
Right.
New Orleans has some of that, but New Orleans is not nearly the same kind of place to live in as Nashville or Austin even. But I'm from Lafayette, which is an even smaller town, but still has a ton of music culture. And just to come out here and you and Jake being some of the first people we met was just like super motivating to be like, yeah, this is possible and feasible.
It's totally reachable, and I think a lot of people sell themselves short before they even try.
Yeah.
They just say, "Oh well, like people think that if you're a musician, you're either broke or you're famous, and there's no in between."
Yeah.
Which is not the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my biggest heroes, Leland Sklar, who is somebody you probably don't know unless you're a working musician.
Yeah.
When I met him back in 2017, he had done 26,000 tracks since 1974.
Holy crap.
Started with James Taylor,
Yeah.
Phil Collins,
Wow.
Eric Clapton, Toto, Reba, Alice Cooper.
Wow.
What's her name who did that song 1,000 Miles? It was on White Chicks, and it was like big and back in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah. Rebecca Black?
No,
No, that's not Rebecca Black. I know what song you're talking about though. So is that a Los Angeles guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the chances are, like, if you turn on a radio and heard bass, it was Leland.
That's crazy.
And he's making royalties off all that stuff till this day. And like, there's a lot of people who are super successful musicians who are not household names.
Yeah.
And they're doing great.
Oh yeah.
It's just a misconception that I think people have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely that's a whole different I don't want to say delusion, but just kind of like, it's kind of a weird values to have to think that like that's why you're playing music to get famous. It's like there's so much more culture in the music world than just like how many people are, you don't know you. That's kind of nuts.
And I think, like, as bass players, we really don't care anyway, because we're never in the spotlight. No one cares about us, too. And so we're just like, whatever. We have very little ego, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
We just want to play. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. Yeah,
and that's kind of why I love this podcast too. Is like I can talk to people who never have time on the mic anyway, or just like I want to talk to, the producers. I want to talk to the, anyone who's kind of in the. I mean, I want to talk to everyone, not just the people in the background, but like this is also going to be cool to hear their sides of the stories and stuff like that. And people have done some crazy, amazing work. And yeah, like you said, Leland, people never really know them as a household name, but it's really cool to hear their perspectives. So obviously work ethic's a big part of your character, but like, is there anything whenever you do have an off day that you like to do whenever music's not, not what's scheduled for the day? Is there anything from like your childhood that was like, this is what I did for fun whenever I was kind of...
I mean, cooking is my big thing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's like my number one hobby outside of music. If I do have some time off, normally, I'm not going to lie, 3 o'clock in the morning, I get home and I've been town all day or off the road. Smoke a bowl and watch Bob Ross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Like, I have to bring the level down.
Yeah.
Like, all the way down to here, just relax, unwind, forget all the noise.
Yeah.
Then the next day, it's like usually cooking, put some old records on.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten in a bad habit of like, even when I do have a day off, it's like, okay, well, what's the next set of stuff I have to learn?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not playing, but I'm at home rehearsing.
Yeah.
And as important as that is, sometimes you just need to chill.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually my thing.
Yeah.
Make a meal, relax, unwind a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and even in like 6 years of playing, I mean, it's still just constantly new songs released every day.
It never stops.
It never stops. Man.
And I mean, there's been so many gigs that you play and you can kind of like fall asleep on.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay attention.
Yeah, right.
because you play those songs 1,000 times a week, and there's other gigs that I really love that like I'm on my toes the entire time. Like I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm reading charts or I'm just looking for cues, and people they're like, oh yeah, like we do this, but it's not like the record, so just hang on.
Yeah.
I played this gig in Seattle last year, and I did so much homework, and I learned all these songs. And the guitar player picks me up from the airport, and he's like, hey dude, by the way, so and so doesn't do anything like the recordings, so forget everything that you practiced.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wow.
great.
Oh, nice.
I'm glad I've got good ears.
Yeah.
Because I could have not done any homework at all, wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah. Dang.
And so that just it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but it's kind of fun though. Like you're like, well, instead of just going through the motions, I'm really paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that is like a high level jam situation.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, do you think you got mainly your ears from Broadway?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, like when I was growing up, my background was very much in like jazz standards. And it was off of like Steve Vai, Dream Theater, lots of prog metal stuff. Like I could play you through any of that. I had no ears at all.
No ears.
I was really good at sight reading.
Yeah.
But like,
oh wow,
it was like a hand-eye sort of thing. Like what you put on the page is what I play.
Yeah.
I didn't understand harmony or intervals or any of that. It was just very academic.
Yeah.
And then I got to Broadway, and the first gig I ever played was a dumpster fire. Absolute dumpster fire. I got a call 20 minutes before a gig. They were like, hey, like we need somebody. We forgot our bass player's out of town.
Yeah.
Never forget, it was a December 22nd Crossroads, a 2 to 6, pouring down rain. Nobody was there.
Oh, well.
And I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Oh, wow.
And just bombed.
Well, at least no one was there.
I mean, but I was like,
I guess you went, yeah.
After that, I was like, oh, like this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then so after that was like lots of ear training and just like I put myself in the shed for so long, dude. Just learning set list after set list. Anytime I would see somebody just post a general set list, even if it wasn't looking for a bass player, if it was a guitar player, drummer, whatever, copy paste.
Yeah.
Saved it in my phone, put it in a Dropbox file, get home, start just chipping away one after one.
Dang. What program do you use for your charts? You use Fourscore?
One chart.
One chart? And does it show how many charts you have?
In my Dropbox file, I've got 4,068.
But are those all the, like, what's the amount that like you've charted versus like?
Oh, that I've charted? I don't know.
Oh.
I try not to chart unless I need to. So if I want an artist gig, no way.
Yeah.
Just internalize it, remember it.
Right.
If it's one of those last second things that's happened to me before, like, hey, can you play Whiskey Jam tonight?
Yeah.
I'll chart those.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I really just like to sit down with the music and get it in my head.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and I mean that Dropbox is it's super helpful for sure because like probably cuts my chart. Like I chart probably half of the songs I learned, and the other half are Dropbox. But it's kind of creeping into me mostly charting everything.
And I think that there's a big thing to be said about like if I get music, even if I'm not going to use the chart on the gig, charting it while I listen to it helps it get stuck.
Yeah, I can almost visualize the chart in my head,
It helps you internalize it.
Yeah. I was super lucky to play in these groups back in Louisiana, which was Zydeco was like traditional Cajun music.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up on that at all. I had no idea about Cajun music, and so almost every single song and gig was like I had to use my ears, and that got my ears pretty good before I moved out here, and that's been super helpful in like learning these songs and charting and just listening to the record and getting it. But it's still just a ton of homework. Still, I mean, can't get around it because like the Cajun stuff was like I could just use my ears, but this is like I gotta know the solo like it is. Like I gotta know you know, the parts kind of how they go and stuff like that for the
You have to.
guitar intros and guitar solos and stuff like that. But we're working hard in here, so it's been good. I'm probably like 250 songs down, a million to go. So,
It never stops.
yeah,
Never will, but I love it. Wouldn't change it for a thing.
yeah. So what was the workload kind of like when you first moved here, and how has your workload increased over time?
Workload was pretty light, as it is for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a double-edged sword, because I've seen there's like when you first get to town, you have to make your presence known and say, you know, like, hey, I'm available. And even when you're not working, it's like, okay, go downtown, go hang out, go meet people. Because I've seen so many guys who are older than me and better than me, and they're like, hey man, like, how are you working so much? I'm struggling for work. I'm like, well, there's a lot of, like, this town rotates all the time. And there's so many new people here who just don't know you exist. It's not that they're not calling you because they don't want you to play. They just have no idea who you are.
Yeah.
So it's like this constant cycle of when you get to town, meet people, play gigs, and then as people leave and new people come in, you start doing it all over again.
Wow.
You have to like continually re-network and just go meet new people.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending cycle. And then sometimes, like a lot of times you get gigs by recommendation, like so-and-so needs a player for whatever, and they're like, oh, well, I know this guy.
Yeah.
And then you get a phone call from somebody you never met, you go and play a gig, hopefully you do a good job, and it turns into something more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a never-ending sort of just cycle of meet people, they leave, meet new people, play the gigs, and do it all over again.
Yeah. This the rotating door aspect of Nashville is it's kind of intriguing to me, because it's like everyone I talk to just got here. I'm like, where are all the people who've been here? And it's like,
well, dude, I mean, there's a statistic about Nashville saying that like 100 people move here a day, which is true.
Wow.
But the other side of that is 90% of those people are aspiring musicians, and 80% out of that group, after their first lease, they move back home.
Yeah. Wow.
So yes, a lot of musicians move here all the time, but they don't stay.
Yeah.
Because they decide it's not for them. They can't hang. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
Maybe they have some like personal things going on that, you know.
Yeah.
It's easy to move here as a single adult.
Yeah.
When you have no wife, no kids, no husband, no bills, whatever, you can make it by with nothing. But when you have other people depending on you, it's like, oh, I need to make a certain amount to make a living.
Yeah.
So moving here when you have nothing, is not going to say it's easy, but it's easier.
It's best case scenario.
Best case scenario for sure. So yeah, there's a lot of rotation here.
Yeah. That's super interesting. It's I'm starting to feel like a local just because I talked to someone. They're like, "Oh, I just signed my lease today." I'm like, "Holy crap!" I'm like, "Just got out the car."
Right.
I'm like, but no. Speaking of like local stuff, where are some of your favorite places to eat around town?
Oh man, there's so many. The one that always comes to mind is Stock and Barrel in the Gulch. It's a burger joint. 260 bourbons on the wall. My favorite burger there is called the Hurt Locker. So they have one here and one in Knoxville. The Hurt Locker, all their meats are all like locally sourced.
Yeah.
But it's 3rd pound patty, pimento cheese, fried green tomatoes, jalapenos, bacon.
Nice.
Oh,
that sounds
like
right.
as big as your face.
Yeah.
And it's not expensive. It's like $12 or $14 depending on the burger.
The Hurt Locker.
They've got one, I can't remember what it's called. Again, big patty, blackberry jam, house made, fried jalapenos.
Nice.
Wow. Like truffle fries.
Yeah.
Unreal. Otaku, the ramen spot, is one of my number ones.
Nice.
I lived in Japan for a little while.
Oh, wow.
So
dude,
ramen is one of my weaknesses.
Dang. Was the Japan that was part of the Marines stuff?
Yeah.
Stationed out there, and it's like, what did that look like?
It's wild, dude.
Yeah.
It's a very different culture in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Nicest people you're ever going to meet. Everybody drives slower. The speed limit is like 55 kilometers an hour. And they don't have any seatbelt laws. So like you'll see toddlers just poking their heads out of sunroofs. There's vending machines everywhere.
Yeah.
Like in places you wouldn't expect. Like imagine walking out to the street corner and there being a vending machine. But there's the lower section is the cold section and the upper section is the hot section. So you can get like hot canned coffee.
Oh, okay.
And then they have like bottles of wine in there too. But you don't need an ID because kids just say like, oh, I'm not supposed to buy this because I'm not 20 yet. Because the legal limit is 20 over there.
Yeah.
And they don't do it.
Right. Well, I guess they have a different culture of like they're going to get caught or like they're going to get like they're going to bring dishonor to their family. I don't know.
I mean, it's not even that. It's just like these are the rules and I'm not going to break them.
Right, exactly.
And whereas in America, it's just like
we're going to do what we can get away with.
It's kind of like a forbidden fruit thing in America.
Yeah.
I don't think any 16-year-old kid actually wants to go out and get drunk.
Right.
It's just like,
exactly.
Oh, I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm going to do it. That's not a thing in Japan at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a huge aspect of it, but just I feel like Americans in general are just like, how can I bend the rules to my advantage? Like, how can I just like, get away with whatever?
Yeah.
It's very different. Japanese culture has to be way more like, you're expected to do the right thing.
And that's how it is. They're very disciplined and just
crazy.
Even when I was out one night and some guy was just like buying a group of us drinks, whatever. And this crowd is looking at us kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
And so like I go and talk to them because I mean, they speak English over there because everybody else in the world speaks multiple languages except for us.
Right.
And they're like, that guy's Yakuza, which is like the Japanese mob. Even the mobsters are nice over there. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah. That's nuts. Yeah. What, so you had to spend like, I guess majority of time on a base out there, or was it like, had like free time, I'm guessing? Or?
Oh yeah. You had free time. I mean, every day after you get off work, you can go off island and then, weekends, obviously.
Did you ever see some combat?
No. Never did any dirt
God.
deployments. Saw plenty of other stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know if we want to put on the podcast.
No, that's all. I mean, up to you. But no, yeah, we don't have to get all into it. But yeah, I always
helicopters are very dangerous. That's all I'll say.
Holy crap!
Very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of me has always wanted to be a pilot. When I was a little kid, that was kind of like my dream job. But no, like, there's just I feel like musicians and helicopters don't mix well.
They don't.
So it's, you know what? I think I'll wait on that one.
Yeah, I'll probably never get in a helicopter ever again.
Holy crap! Holy crap! Holy shit! Yeah, I mean, yeah, just hearing you say that is probably enough for me. I'm like, yeah, I grew up in the funeral business.
Oh, really?
And there's a lot of just little tiny things about, the stuff you see that kind of soaks into you, and like, or into my dad at least, because he worked there, his whole life, and it's just little things that just kind of like, I mean, he rode motorcycles, he still enjoyed his life and did whatever, but just like, he stopped riding the motorcycles and stopped doing this or that, and it was just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna take certain risks where I really don't need to, and like me and my whole family, we went skydiving. He's like, I'm good. He's like,
don't blame him.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? It looks all fun. It looks real. Like, there's a industry around it. There's like, everyone makes it seem like this is totally routine, but stuff can go wrong all the time. I mean, it's literally just because it's got pretty colors and a nice logo on the skydiving place doesn't mean that it's not
safe.
He's safe. Yeah, something could go wrong for sure.
I'm very much like that. Like, there's certain risks I just don't want to take.
Yeah,
it's a risk versus reward sort of thing.
Yeah.
Going back to Japan, like they served fugu over there, which is blowfish.
Yeah.
And
holy crap,
you have to apprentice for I think 15 years before you can serve it.
Yeah.
And the sushi chef would bring the tray out to you and would eat a piece in front of you before you would have it. I'm like, you know what? Sushi doesn't sound that good that I'm willing to die over it.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to mess with that.
That is so funny. The chef has to eat a piece in front of you.
And I never did it.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, oh wow. Holy crap.
Granted, the sushi over there is incredible,
Yeah.
and it's cheaper.
I
Like
bet.
it's cheaper than chicken is
Mm,
because you're on an
wow.
island, dude.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to farm. You just get everything from the ocean.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah. And we just like mass produce that chicken. We're like, yeah, give me that chicken. Dang. That's nuts, man. I'd love to spend some time in Japan or in Asia. I low key, I mean, this is dreaming, but like, I just want to spend a month in some place I have no idea or no business being in. Like, spend a month in India and just like,
Do it.
yeah,
The most expensive part is the travel.
right.
Once you're there, it's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
India, Thailand,
Yeah.
like it's one of my friends was telling me like they stayed at this bungalow
Mm,
for like equivalent of $15 a day.
right.
It's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like when you you can't even recognize the language or the writing or whatever. I mean, it's got to be a different dimension. It's got to feel like I mean, I you know, in the slim amount of traveling I've done, it's already made me kind of like take the goggles off of like where I was from and just see like the small town as a small town and be like, oh, we're like, really, this is way more of the sticks than I even realized, just because you got to travel to kind of
Yeah.
get the fish out of the water effect. Where, you know, music, that's kind of why I love music too, is it allows me to get paid to travel. Has there been ever some cool places that you got to go playing gigs?
So many cool places. And like going back to that culture shock thing, it's like we get so used to in Nashville being a big city.
Yeah.
I was somewhere in Alabama a couple weeks back and it was like a Friday afternoon and everything was closed.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's 3:00 in the afternoon. Why is everything closed?
yeah.
But that's just how the other places work. We're so used to just here where everything is nonstop all the time.
Yeah.
Love Denver. Denver's incredible. Lived in San Diego for a long time, but then went back there last year to play a couple gigs. San Diego, Los Angeles. Don't like LA anymore.
Yeah.
It's a dumpster fire, man. I hate to see it.
That's what I'm hearing.
It's bad. San Diego's still gorgeous. Very expensive but beautiful. New York's great. Florida, I've had a lot of fun in. I've played in every state except for Alaska and Hawaii
Sick.
and Maine. Haven't
Oh,
played
okay.
in Maine. I mean, some of the Midwestern places, they're a lot of fun because
Yeah.
there might be like one venue out there in the middle of
Right.
like Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so everybody goes there on their night off
Yeah, absolutely.
because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
And some of those places just, they pop off on the weekends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool getting to see like every part of the country and what it has to offer and doesn't have to offer.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Interesting is the only way I can put it.
For sure. It's it's good. I mean, there's lots of ups and downs with the road, and like in Louisiana, pretty much had to be on the road to make a decent buck. And I think that's also what's really cool about this town is the ability to make money in town, and sleep in your own bed and all that stuff. But so I think kind of like a longer term. I'm definitely young enough to stay on the road for now, and do whatever. But a longer term goal would be like be a studio guy, stay in town, play on the street or whatever when I can, because that, you know, it seems like this town gives hope to the idea of having a family and staying in town and being a musician and having something stable and kind of more reliable.
It's definitely a catch-22 though, because I can't tell you how many guys I've met who get offered a good road gig. And they say, oh, well, we'll pay you $200 a night, maybe per diem, maybe travel pay. And so they say, oh, well, man, like I could play a double in town and make $500
Yeah.
and sleep in my own bed
Right.
and get to hang with my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And so they turn it down.
Yeah.
And then a couple years down the road, that person who offered them that road gig for a couple $100 less is now having a really good career. They're in the studio, they're playing stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
and you're still playing Broadway.
Right.
And Broadway is a means to an end. It is not a career. I don't care what anybody says. You will age out of it.
Yeah.
Luckily, as side guys and men, we have it a little easier. The people who have it the hardest are female fronts. Because I hate to say it, but the moment you're not 25 and good looking anymore, they move somebody else in.
Right.
So that's always something to think about. Is like, yeah, you can make a lot of money right now, but what is your end goal?
Right.
I see it as a tool.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make a lot of money down there really fast. Again, like, not to be braggadocious to put in your terms, but like those 62 gigs I did in a month.
Yeah.
That was an $11,000 month.
Yeah.
That will not last forever.
Right.
So I have to take that money and use it to fund the things I really want to do. Or when I want to take a road gig that might not be paying that much. It's like, okay, well, I made this amount of money, so I can afford to go take this weekend off and go play some music I really enjoy, regardless of the pay that I'm making.
Yeah.
But you do have to take a risk every now and then of like, well, this person offered me this gig. It might not be paying a ton, but I see them going places. So I'm going to take it.
Do you feel like the road gigs are kind of like the best resume builders for getting in the studio?
No, I would say it's probably like
guess studio work is the best resume builder for studio work, but like
it is, but it's not all studio work is the same. Like I've never done anything major. I've played on quite a few tracks, but nothing I've played on some stuff that's on the radio, but I mean, sometimes it might be that gig that like, oh, we're going to have you track this song. I'll pay you $50. Sure. Whatever. But for me, it's like, I have like a resume of like, okay, here's all the songs I played on. And that builds into more. It's just, I mean, studios is just like any other gig. It's okay, here's my resume of live stuff. Here's my resume of studio stuff. And it's nice being able to send that out to somebody like, here, this is what I sound like on a track. Yeah. And having variety too. So like I've played like some prog metal stuff. I've done Americana albums. I've done R&B stuff, whatever. Being able to show your versatility, I think, is super important. Because especially as a side guy, everybody has their own flavor, but you can't be a one-trick pony. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything. Yeah. The moment that, like, you don't want to sound like a 80s guitar player on a country gig. For sure. You just sound out of place. It might be great. Yeah. But you don't fit.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like studio is it's kind of been in I don't want to say intimidating. It's been weird for me to like tell people that's like my hopes and dreams, because there's so many good players out here. But I do love the recording process, and I love all that. If anything, I need to do more homework on tones and how to get, different tones. And I feel like my playing is versatile, but at the same time, I still get in my head about like feeling like I'm playing the same solos or getting in ruts and stuff like that. So I think that all just comes down to homework and stuff like that. But so you were talking about things that were exciting you, or how Broadway's a means to an end. What are some of those things that are exciting you that you actually want to invest in outside of Broadway?
Definitely studio stuff, a lot of artist stuff. I like the creative aspect because I feel like a lot of times when you're on an artist gig or even downtown, it's just like, okay, well, this is the way the record sounds. Yeah. And that's why I like playing with Jake so much, because we do so much stuff not like the record. We go way off the rails. Yeah. But then in the studio, it's like, okay, well, to me, it's like somebody having a half-finished painting. Right. And they're like, hey, I want you to finish this for me. Mm-hmm. So I always walk into the studio and being like, okay, I want to give this the best possible thing I could do. Yeah. And so that track I told you I did with Julia, every time we play together, she's like, oh, so-and-so just said that they they love the bass line on the song. I'm like, I love to hear that because like I really put a lot of work into that. I wrote it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I walked in and like, this sounds all right. Like I wrote a bass line for that song.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also like I got to make it up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't somebody saying, okay, well, here's your chart. Here's what
Yeah.
you're going to play.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you want to just read the notes,
Yeah.
hire anybody. But
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you have something different to offer
Yeah.
that's just not on paper.
Mm. Yeah. I feel like I have so many mixed feelings about musicians in the studio and stuff like that because I wear an artist hat sometimes and I wear a musician hat sometimes. So when you're talking about like building this bass line and contributing like an original piece of, you know, intellectual property, I'm assuming you probably did that record for like work for hire.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have a philosophy for like how you conduct business as a studio guy? I mean, for the most part, the industry just seems like it's mainly just work for hires and stuff like that. But I remember listening to a podcast about the studio guys that did Drift Away,
Mhm.
you know, that classic song, and like that classic guitar intro is just so classic and iconic. I feel like it made that song a little bit.
It did.
But that guy probably doesn't have any royalties on that song at all. It's just a work for hire, just like a one time. So it's like, do you have a philosophy on kind of like the creative contribution you make to a song as a musician and how, you know, your ownership in that song is not really, you know, reflected?
I mean, sometimes like, yeah, you are going to get royalties. Sometimes you won't. I don't have a ton of insight into that as far as like I said, I haven't done anything major. So I couldn't tell you, but even Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
if you look at the back cover of Beat It, Van Halen's nowhere on there.
Oh, wow.
He's not credited.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
And a lot of people don't know that.
That is kind of a crazy point.
Barry White did the same thing with his whole band
Yeah.
because his philosophy was he didn't want other band leaders to seek out his sound.
Yeah.
So he kept his guys. He kept Nathan East, and they were under lock and key. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not letting you know who played on this
Yeah.
because this is how I sound, and you're not going to take it.
Wow. Yeah.
But I don't know. For me, it's just satisfying being
Yeah.
able to know that I was part of the product. I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it is. And then being in the studio is so fun. I enjoy the shit out of it. It's a whole different kind of exhaustion you can have after a studio day because it's just like mentally like you're in it a bunch and like you're like I interned at a studio for a while and watching that process made me fall in love with it. But it is a much different kind of creativity and different kind of like exercise, you know.
And like depending on the situation, there's a different sort of mental strain.
Yeah.
Like digital is one thing. So you're like, oh, let me try this, like see if it works. If not, let's, we'll punch in right here.
Right.
On tape.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, I need to get this right the first time.
Yeah. Dang, you've done some tape recording?
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
And I like especially tape when it's all live.
Yeah.
I did an album at Welcome to 1979 2 years ago. And it was all of us in ISO booths on tape playing together.
Yeah.
And you're like, if anybody makes a mistake,
It's on you.
do it again. Like, so it's just like it's so much pressure of just doing it right the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all like Allman Brothers and stuff like that, they make it seem easy just because they played them songs 500 times before they got into the studio in the first place. And then to be a studio guy and to play with so much intention and so much confidence that you have to make it sound like you've played it 100 times before you've gotten in there.
And then you got guys like Stuart Copeland from the Police who he'll even say now that he's like, oh yeah, I don't know what I did. He's like, I've never played it the same way twice.
Yeah, right.
The way it is on the record, I don't play it like that anymore.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I think is wild.
Yeah.
That's so wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a lot of different kind of characters that can come into the studio because, like, I know back home there's this guy who plays killer lap steel, can't read a lick of music, and like, he's just got the ears. He's got some killer ears, and this band hired him thinking that like he was like some virtuoso musician, and then they're like, you don't know any of this music? Like, you can't read any of this? We have big old charts. I can't read none of it. He's like, no, just play me a demo. Here's the demo, lays it down first track. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Even Pino doesn't read.
what?
Yeah. Like he said that he can get his way through a lead sheet,
Oh, wow.
but he just listens.
Dang. Yeah. It's cool, man. I wish I could sight read a little bit better, but like I'm not playing in no big jazz band or nothing. But
I used to be a really good sight reader.
yeah.
It would probably take me like 6 to 9 months to like get my chops back up. But 9 times out of 10, if I am reading, it's a numbers chart or lead sheet.
Yeah. Right. Where was your like sight reading background? Really, like where'd that come from?
All through. So I started playing in concert band at like 9 years old in elementary school. I was playing saxophone.
Oh, wow.
Only picked up saxophone because there was no spot for a bass player in concert band.
Wow.
So that was my second choice. And then
Dang.
when I was 12 and got into middle school and we had jazz band, that's when I picked up bass.
Nice.
So that's when I started reading.
You still play sax at all?
No, I haven't touched it in probably 13 or 14 years.
Yeah, I wish I could play sax. I feel like that's like it's kind of a cheat code to get the girls play some
Right.
sax. Oh, what? That's a slick instrument.
You know Dunham?
No.
Dunham Hall, great
Mm-mm.
sax player downtown.
Mm.
Matter of fact, him and I are on some of the same recordings. Just monster player,
Mm-hmm.
monster sax player. Definitely a guy to know.
That's cool. Yeah, man. I need to hang out downtown more. I've been just kind of woodshedding the homework and doing that thing, but I feel like I've got enough to at least start getting thrown in the fire a little bit. I'm ready.
And that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you just kind of have to go for it.
Yeah.
And no matter how long you've been in town,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be songs you don't know.
Yeah.
And I love that because like to think that the learning stops at one point is pretty lame.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I left Louisiana in the first place, was just I felt like I learned and got all I could from Louisiana. It was just not really getting better. And I was like, there's a whole town of people way better than me, so I know I'm going to learn something.
I think there's something to be said about being slightly uncomfortable all the time.
Right.
I think if you're content and comfortable at all times, it means you're not getting any better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to push yourself out to the water a little bit, not
Yeah.
to the point where you're drowning.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've been there
Yeah.
where you're like, I am in far too deep.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know any of these tunes.
Yeah.
But like a little bit of just having to push yourself outside your comfort zone and hang on a little tighter, I think is good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's like I was playing with these guys when I was 17 playing these Zydeco bands, and they put me on these huge stages and they didn't let me use any pedals. I was plugged straight into the amp and they just threw me in the fire hard, bro. I was sweating my ass off, shaking in my boots, and that's where all the growth came from. It's just it's definitely I feel like, and it's pretty commonly known, but people just need resistance. They need struggle to grow through.
100%.
And I feel like you definitely probably had a lot of that with Marines, and probably had a lot of that with your age and experience, and just it's a testament to all you got going on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think I got pretty lucky. Like looking back on it, I'm glad I struggled as hard as I did,
Yeah.
because it keeps things in perspective.
Yeah.
I met this kid at Redneck Riviera
Mm.
like 6 months ago, and he was bad, real bad. It was same thing, like, took a last second call, didn't know what he was getting into.
Yeah.
And he came up to me afterwards at changeover. He was like, "Hey man, like, how did I do?" I was like, "Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. You sucked."
Yeah.
I was like, "That's okay though."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Get my information and we're going to make this happen for you."
Yeah.
Cuz like, I don't think that patting somebody on the back when they did a bad job is doing them any favors.
No, definitely not.
But you also don't have to lean into them. Be like, "Hey, you know what? This wasn't great."
It's kind of scary that he asked, though.
I mean, he was
I guess.
didn't help him, but he was 3 sheets to the wind, which might have been part of the reason that he wasn't that good.
Mm.
But it's just like, you know what? Like, if you're not good on something, or if I'm not good on something, let me know.
Yeah.
Like, I'll do some homework. I'll get better.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's a level of positive reinforcement when you're not quite cutting it
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
will help you out.
Yeah. You need hard truths.
100%.
You need people who are going to give them to you. I mean, and some of the more frustrating, like, people I've played with have been people who had a bunch of, you know, not hard truths around them. Had a bunch of people just telling them what they wanted to hear, and not enough, like, you know, we're leaving money on the table. We're not doing the best here. We're sucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's so valuable. Has there been some hard truth moments for you, like some things that, you know, I guess humbled you, made you realize this or that? I guess you talked about like that one gig, the first gig you had.
Oh, yeah.
But like anything else, any other lessons you think you learned the hard way?
Burnout was a big one.
Ooh.
Yeah. I remember I was on, might have been a year and a half ago, I think I did like 3 triples and a quad back to back. And
Oh
on
my
the
God.
last hour of my last shift, I felt a pop in my right leg.
Oh my God.
Not painful,
Yeah.
but I was like, something's not right.
Oh shit.
And I went home, and there was a like softball sized, what looked like a bruise,
Oh shit.
but it was just blood pooling in my leg.
Whoa.
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital
Holy crap.
because it could have easily turned into a blood clot or something like that
Yeah.
and made its way to my heart. And I was like, I should probably cool my schedule down a little bit.
Holy shit.
That was a big moment of like, I am working way too much.
Damn.
Because, dude, like and I'll fully admit I still do it now. Like, I'll close on Sunday nights, get done at 3:00 in the morning. I have to open on Mondays. So I just pack a pillow and a blanket, put it in my car, sleep in the parking garage, go to my next gig, which is not an example to live by. Don't do it.
Man, I sympathize so hard with that, though. There's a mentality of just like, I want to be the guy who can get it done. I don't want to be the guy to tell people no, or like be the guy holding everybody else up. And even though, I mean, there's probably a lot of things they can do to like they can find another musician or whatever, and it's not that hard, but just like it's hard to let people down. It's a hard thing to get over, and I was horrible at telling people no for the longest time, dude.
Yeah.
For the longest time. And I was playing in like 5 different groups and taking practices, and my hands were just suffering, dude. And also I had bad posture and all that, but I'm definitely coming out here with the mindset like, I mean, I'm going to work my ass off while I can, but I'm looking for that one group that I can commit to and kind of garage band something and really like
Have it take off.
Yeah, have that take off and commit to one thing and just be, you know, that's I guess the dream, but like we'll see how it happens.
I did have another moment. I don't know, like sort of similar, but so my friend Tyler and Rachel, they have this like duo fronted group called Flare Light that I play in.
Mm.
Tyler plays for Queen, has for like the last 10, 15 years.
Wow.
But I played a gig with them. We only play like once or twice a year because he's always on the road with them. It's just a busy schedule. And we played this gig at the 8th Room, all original music that I freaking love. Like I love the album before he even asked me to join.
Nice.
Because they recorded the whole album
Yeah.
by themselves. He played bass and drums and both played guitar and whatnot. But anyway, played this gig. My friends are there. Love all the songs. Queen came out. Brian May is 5 feet in front of me while I'm playing these songs. Like, don't mess up, don't mess up. And I'm just having the night of my life.
Yeah.
Like playing songs I really
Whoa.
loved. And then the next day, I went and played Aldean's with an electric kit to a bunch of bro country songs. And dude, I had never been so mad.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, this is not why I'm playing music.
Yeah.
Like last night is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And like, I was not gonna lie to you, I was in a horrible mood.
Oh my
I was
God.
fuming.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, okay, like you remember why you started this in the first place.
Yeah.
It's to play songs you're passionate about with people you care about
Yeah.
that mean something to you. And it's like, you're not here to play Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
No.
That's not it.
No. Dang. Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a moment.
Wow. Yeah. Music's funny like that. It's very up and down, and especially for side guys. It's just like, you know, I've played in an arena, and then the next night played in an empty bar.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's just the
the name of it.
That's how it goes. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming, man. This has been a great one, great podcast, and I appreciate you spending some time with us, man.
Had a blast, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. Anything else? Anything you want to plug? Message for the people? Think is there anything like you wish more people thought about, or?
I mean, I got those "Do MILFs Not Drug" shirts. That's the thing.
You saw some shirts?
I got them in my car right now.
Oh, that's sick.
Did I tell you about that story?
No.
So some dude, if we have an extra second, some dude on Facebook was like spamming me and trying to sell shirts of me for money.
Oh, of you?
Yeah, and I was like, that's not cool.
What?
So in Nebraska, a couple years back, we found this graffiti up on the wall that said "Do MILFs Not Drugs."
Yeah.
My friend Tom was like, go over there and strike a pose. And then so we turned it black and white, put the parental advisory sticker at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I made 4 of them for me and the guys that were on that gig.
Oh my God.
And within like 15 minutes, it was just Venmo, Venmo, Venmo.
Stop.
So I ordered like 70 shirts the first day.
Yeah. Dude.
Just all as a joke.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So if you want some shirts, hit me up.
That's hilarious, bro. Logan Hatcher, thank you for coming, man. Sweet, man. Hope
Thanks
we
for
do
having
it.
me, man.
Hope we do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Right on. Bye, everybody.